some carpet. Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody. Okay, listen to this. If your phone is ringing off the hook with calls from debt collectors, it's not likely that you feel in control of the situation. But letting yourself feel scared or intimidated isn't a good option either. Go down that road and you may wind up making promises you can't keep or payments you can't afford. Don't panic. That's why we have our great friend, Chattanooga bankruptcy attorney Aaron Epstein, on the show this morning. Good to have you here.
Always a pleasure.
You know what? I mean, thank God I'm okay. I've never had a call like that before, but so many people do. I see your commercials that are running all the time at night on our channel, and you know what? This stuff can keep you up. It's not healthy. The stress level can kill people. It's not fair.
You know, that's a good point. You know, if you had one reason to justify dealing with your problem, the stress factor, you don't want to go to early grave. As we get older, we see all these young people who are our age passing away, and how much of that could be from stress that they didn't deal with?
So
who knows?
What is your right as a citizen? What is your right to deal with these debt
Well,
collectors?
your right is, as an individual, is to educate yourself and know what you can do. And there are a lot of things. There are debt management programs. There are, family and friends who can help you out. I've always thought, though, it's very difficult to borrow your way out of debt. So that probably doesn't work unless you've got a really rich uncle.
One of the great things about you, and I've heard this from so many people, is you are one of the top bankruptcy attorneys in this area, but you become a psychologist, you become a counselor, you become, a friend to these people, and not a friend that you would go out to dinner with and stuff, but just a confidant that you're helping these people, because it's a horrible life. What happens to these people?
Well, it is an honor to be able to have people trust me, and a lot of times I'll be giving somebody advice, and I'll feel like they're not listening to me. I said, listen, I've done this 40,000 times, and they'll say something like, well, I already know your reputation, that's why I called you. So there's a trust factor, and a lot of people on a telephone call, it's tricky because you don't really know me unless you've seen me on TV or whatever, but I really do care. And if you have any relationship, familial, children, people know if you care. And if you don't care, it shows.
In a town this size, it's going to get around. You're going to have word of mouth, which could be very positive or very negative.
Listen, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes and I fix them. But for the most part, I'm in the business of it's a profession of helping people who need help and doing the best I can to alleviate their stress.
We're talking about debt collectors, so let's go ahead and show this up on the screen. And if you are bothered by these people fighting back, prioritize your bills. So in other words, you tell people, pay what's important, get the bills in order that you need to. Learn your rights, we just talked about that. Contact an attorney and get proof. Always document every time these people call. They bug you at work, they bug you at home, some things that they say to you. Document everything, because that's when the law can really get into play here.
Well, that's a good point. You should make a note of everything, but what you should really do is try to educate yourself. I'm reluctant to say go online and get educated, because so many people come to me or call me and say, well, that's not what I read on the internet. And I go, well, that's because it's not always right because it's on the internet. So I would say find a bankruptcy lawyer that you're comfortable with, me or somebody else who you feel like they're looking out for your best interest. And you'll get the warm fuzzy or you won't.
I think one of the most important things you've always said is when a person files bankruptcy, the relief is immediate.
That's right.
Your body will feel better, you mentally will feel better. It's a whole new start for these people, but you've got to listen to an attorney like you, and you've got to be careful to make sure you follow that debt management.
Well, listen, anything that's new is going to be scary. So you've got to get past the fear factor. So what's worse, having people harass you 24/7, having your check garnished, your car repossessed, or calling a bankruptcy lawyer and say, listen, here's my situation, what can you do to help me?
Once you file bankruptcy, will these calls stop? Do they have to stop?
They have to stop. And if they don't stop, the violation of the automatic stay can be enforced in the bankruptcy court.
So we talked about prioritizing your bills. If you are reorganizing with bankruptcy and you will be paying back, is that what you mean by prioritizing? How do you prioritize bills when you go through a bankruptcy?
Well, it depends on what you do. Let's say that you are behind on your house and you're facing a foreclosure, or your car's about to be repossessed, you get in to file a Chapter 13 to stop that. You don't really prioritize, other than the money you pay to the Chapter 13 trustee will be prioritized by the court and by your lawyer to take care of what's most important to you. So those people matter. Credit cards, doctor bills, loans, not so much. So the priorities are what matters to you. Now, some people come to me and say, listen, I don't want this house. It's a train wreck. And then you talk about just stop paying, let the house get foreclosed, and or just file the bankruptcy right away.
All right, we are running out of time, and I need to talk to you about student loans. If a young person does not pay their student loans, can that young person, you cannot file for bankruptcy to pay off the student loans. You have got to pay them off. Will this damage the credit for years for a young person?
Student loans is a whole different kettle of fish, but generally the rule is you cannot discharge them in a Chapter 7. Sometimes in a Chapter 13, you can kick the can down the road by paying a small part of them, but you're not really, it's a Band-Aid, it's not really a solution.
So students, don't get into that trap because it can destroy your credit for years.
It's a real problem once you default. But there are solutions that I can talk to you about next time we're together.
All right, let's do that next month.
Okay.
Let's do it,
Deal.
especially with so many graduates out there. There he is, Aaron Epstein, attorney at law on Cherry Street, 752-3000. Everything that I asked him today, you can find right there on his website, moneyproblems.com. He will answer them. There's great videos there. He will take you through it. 752-3000. Aaron, all the best to you.
Likewise, Jed.
3 Plus U continues right after this.
do do do